Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, where Sean and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Tennille.
And I'm Sean.
Today we are looking at Tintin and the Lake of Sharks. I said the title correctly, correct?
Correct.
Good, okay.
You correctly corrected the correct pronunciation of the correctness.
I concur. Anyway, so...
1972 from Dargaud Films from France and Belgium.
Thank you. Even I didn't have that written down, so good on you.
So this is our second and final cleanup film before we actually move on to the future.
It's also our second and final for a really long time Tintin movie.
Yes, technically there was one way back in the 40s that was stop motion, but we don't have an English version of that one, so we haven't watched it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the second only traditionally animated film from Tintin.
Yeah. You can see our thoughts on the previous Tintin movie in the 50s? 60s?
No, I think it was 60s.
Yeah, 60s sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tintin and the Temple of the Sun.
Yeah. Long story short, we didn't like it.
Yeah.
And long story short here...
Hold on. I have a title for this one.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So you said it was Tintin and the Lake of Sharks, or Tintin and the At Least It Wasn't Racist This Time.
Oh, okay, yeah. I like that title.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
It's not racist. It's not trying to appropriate cultures and then have the white guy come in and save everything. Though the white guy does still come in and save everything because he's a foreigner to
that. It still has that. It's just he's also in a white, he's still in a European nation.
Yeah.
So it's, less.
Yeah, this takes place...
it's the exact same plot.
Yeah, it takes place in two European countries that may or may not be made up. I'm honestly not sure. I haven't checked it out. So I don't even want to bring up the countries because I don't remember them. And I don't know if they were real or not. But he's not from either of these countries, so he feels perfectly okay running around and doing vigilante work, which is not okay because the police can't act. Doesn't mean you should be able to act either.
There's literally a part in the movie where the...
Police are like, well...
Oh, no, wait. Don't interrupt me. Where the criminals escape by crossing into the border of another country because they're on this lake, and the lake is half owned by one country and half owned by the other country.
Mm-hmm.
And the police are like, we can't go after them because they're outside of our jurisdiction now. And Tintin's like, well, I'm not from this country anyway, so it's not out of my jurisdiction. And so he goes and he gets the bad guys and then brings them back. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
Tintin,
I hate this.
Tintin, what is your job?
How old are you?
I'm still baffled by this child man.
Whatever, you're not supposed to think about it. It's just a power fantasy for boys.
This guy has a baby face, but he has muscles. At one point, he doesn't have a shirt on, and you see that he has muscles.
He has a tank top on.
Okay, he has the white undershirt on.
Yeah.
But you can see that the dude is ripped for cartoon standards.
Yeah.
As who are you? How old are you? Are you allowed to be here? Do you need an adult?
That's not Captain Haddock, who is completely useless in this movie.
Yeah,
he does less than Thompson and Thompson. Thompson and Thompson are more useful to the plot and the story and saving the day than Captain Haddock.
Haddock drives around in a submarine that accomplishes nothing.
Uh-huh.
And that's all he does in this entire film, other than complain and do slapstick goofery.
Yeah. I mean, I like slapstick goofery, but I just feel like it's so lukewarm and half-assed in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. This is for younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
But, still, Tintin has, a pretty large following.
Yeah. And
so
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't get why. It's so bland.
I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's because this was made so long ago, it doesn't appeal to our modern sensibilities.
I think it's just very much one of those things that this trope has been done better by our standards.
Mm-hmm.
because it was one of the original things to start doing this trope.
Yeah.
So, like, I get that. We've talked about that kind of thing on Animation Pilgrimage before, where sometimes, properties that start trends aren't able to
keep up with the competition that take their idea and roll with it.
take that idea and roll with it better. And I think Tintin's one of those. I have not seen was it 2011 Steven Spielberg movie?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Steven Spielberg, but it was definitely 2011.
Oh, I think Steven Spielberg worked on it.
Okay. I mean, we'll be watching it eventually because it's full 3D CGI.
Oh yeah, we'll watch it eventually on AP. I have not seen it. I know a lot of people.
Mixed reviews.
Yeah, I know a lot of people really liked it. I know a lot of people felt the CGI was weird or thought it was boring. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So we'll have to see how Tintin adapts to a more modern age when we get to that film.
Speaking of modern,
into this.
Yeah, speaking of adaptation, this movie was actually completely new. It was not based on a previous comic, so it was written for film. And that's another thing I was wondering is like, does Tintin just not translate well to film? Does it work better as a comic where it has its own pacing? And I'm honestly thinking that might be part of it. But even still, this film that was made exclusively for film doesn't have good pacing.
No. Well, and also there's a lot of things in it that are obvious references that only Tintin fans are going to get.
References and in-jokes and like...
As in, like, the main villain of this story is
like,
obviously a recurring villain of Tintin, and, like, I have no idea who this is. And there's another character that Haddock knows that shows up, and I don't know who she is.
This operatic lady just shows up. No idea who she is, but, like, it's apparently a character. We're never properly introduced to her
in the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like,
she does more to help than Captain Haddock does.
Yeah, she does. Okay, but I do want to say, goodness. I think that this movie is probably, my negative feelings about it aside, I think this is probably a really fun movie for people who are Tintin fans. And, like, it's probably perfectly fine. It's probably really enjoyable. It's got a lot of homages to things from the comics, it looks like. So, if you're a Tintin fan, I would recommend watching this. If you're not, I would say skip it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate to me. Yeah, it's pretty fine. To go over the plot real briefly, there's a group of international thieves that are taking priceless artifacts and pieces of art and replacing them with nearly perfect copies. Replicas and stuff. And they want to go the next step and flood the market with perfect copies. So they want to buy a sci-fi futuristic 3D printer. It's a 3D printer.
Yeah. They want a 3D print. Priceless.
It's a super magic object that scans one item and then perfectly replicates it. It's essentially
It's a mix between a hologram machine and a 3D printer.
Yeah, like the guy that's making it started with a hologram machine is like, now I want to make them real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
all
that's
right.
not how it turns out to work in real life.
Which
but
I think
you know what?
This one interesting thing from this movie is this sort of look back into old sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is what they thought we might be able to do in the future. It's like, technically, yes, but not in this way at all.
Not at all. Well, and the way it's presented here is so kooky and unrealistic that, like, you don't even think that they thought that this kind of thing was possible at all in the near future. So they just, like, kind of throw crap at the wall and see what sticks. And not even see what sticks. It bounces off the wall and they're like, yes, let's do that.
Sure, that works. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Tintin is helped more by the two random new children characters. That's another weird thing that just makes me confused about how old Tintin is. All of these movies, he more often just runs around and hangs out with the children characters introduced for the film or story than he does with Captain Haddock or the adults.
Yeah.
But he's an adult, right? That's weird, right? I don't
know.
understand.
I think he's just supposed to be an older teen. Like, maybe, I think he's supposed to be like 15, 16. But sometimes he feels like he's like 25, and sometimes they write him as if he's like 10. I don't know. Like a very competent 10-year-old.
It's strange.
I don't know, man. Anyway, enough crapping on Tintin. What's our next movie?
All right, yes, next time we actually get to move on to 1975 and farther into the future. And
The future is now. Well, is next week.
I am excited for this film for the simple fact that this is being made by Pannonia Film Studio from Hungary, the people that brought us Johnny Corncob.
Ooh.
We are watching Hugo the Hippo. Let's see if they can keep up the momentum.
Yeah.
See you guys then.
Bye-bye.